So you really want to be in the business and you think that you got what it takes? I mean, you really got to rap and be all that. Prepare yourself for the breaks. Check it out. It's MSG. It's Hacker Hamin. It's time to light the fuse with lights up, lights down. Who's going to be here? I don't know. American Top Team. Maybe in the house today, too. They were this morning, but it's Hacker Hamin. It's MSG. And hopefully the Chris Silvio. It's time to light the fuse. Yalla. Yeah, what's good? What's good? It was a big Friday locker room. Glad to have Stevie back this morning before we get things going over on the Realm side. But good, a lot of real talk headlines today instead of some phony wrestling bullshit. Unfortunately, sometimes it's at the perils of people, you know, like that juicy TMZ gossip. But that's what media is about, I guess, man. But we'll be having plenty of good stuff to break down on this show. It was an interesting show. Some things, great choices from the past, repunched up, but not followed through with properly. So
BICE, roll me up a joint with Corey Treverson. You see, let's go. We're about to review AEW for you guys today, ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about a couple things I think I might disagree with you on. I saw something on Twitter you liked, and I was like, I didn't like that. So I think it'll be might have an interesting conversation later on in the show. Before we have Mr. Silvio join us, because he just messaged, says that he's on his way. And I recently just got done watching the 4-part docu-series on Son of Sam, and I've been waiting all week to talk to you about this.
Oh, see, because I haven't seen it all yet. So well, my cousin actually tried to hit me up about it, and I was like, yeah, I got to watch it, but I just haven't had the time. I say that because I've always got like something on the other screen, whether it's Game of Thrones or Sopranos, so I should just put that on.
Well, I mean, you of course know the story. Everyone, if you can research it, this isn't fake. This is all information. But what's interesting, I thought, was the book that the author puts out, Maury, right? The Ultimate Evil. You know, he goes through and he dissects all his different connections on how he got to where he was at. And everybody thinks he's this big conspiracy theorist, right? But they get to the end of the doc, and I'm not spoiling anything here because I think you guys talked about it, the Horseman, when Crowder got arrested back in 2018, or he was about to get arrested, and he blows himself off. Well, the way they set it up, that update on what happens, is they go, here's what Maury said in the book and who he thought did it, and then nobody believed him, and then 20-30 years later, boom, they find the guy, and it's the guy that they exactly said it would have had to have been the security guard to do this. And then I tried to buy the book, and it's $500, so I can't buy the book.
Really?
Yeah, the book is not in circulation anymore, so you can only
that'll be print. No, everyone's gonna want it. So
the push is Amazon, because Audible lets you sign up for a free trial and listen to it, or read it on your Kindle. But yeah, if you want a hard copy version, I looked it up. It was like $500 resale market. I was like, damn.
Wow.
Great talk though. And I watched it and I went, okay, so this is why Ben thinks, this is why Ben says the cult members and blah, 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 and they're running all this shit. Because this just happened in the 70s. And if you don't think it's continuing on now, like, you're naive to the situation, especially when Crowder kills himself at the end. It's like, well, the guy was in his 70s.
Yeah.
So he clearly was like, oh, I got caught. So either I'm going to jail and I'm going to get killed off because I know some shit I'm not supposed to say, or I better just do it now.
Yeah, I mean, people know obviously from the Conspiracy Horseman, but I mean, I've been into this stuff since I was like probably 14 years old, man. You know, I just grew up in a real political family, and I knew what was what, you know, of like bullshit or not. And then once you start going down those rabbit holes, it's crazy. So it's not based off of just like, oh, he saw a YouTube video, or it's not based off of any real personal experience either. It's just like, once this lines up with that, or once this lies exposed, then the truth lies somewhere unspoken. And I think human nature can figure it out.
Yeah, it was just a fascinating docu-series. Definitely, if you get a chance. It starts off a little slow in the first, I'd say 20 minutes of the first episode, but then it does pick up, and it's only 4 episodes. So
yeah, I'll definitely put in some time and try and get through it in the next week.
Mr. Sexian El Idolo has joined us here today. How you doing, sir?
What's up, boys? Matt, you're getting so much better at that pronunciation. I'm so very proud of you.
I didn't feel bad. JR could barely pronounce it last night. He was like, one day, folks, I'll get it. And I was like, yeah, you will, JR. I'm with you.
Well, you're also comparing yourself to a 69-year-old man from Oklahoma. But,
when it comes to phonetically speaking, he's one of the best. I would love to, compare myself to a 69-year-old Jim Ross. I hope I can speak like him one day.
Well, yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to rock. It was a hell of a show last night, I thought. A lot of fireworks going on, so I can't wait to break this down with you gents.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of good stuff that was good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own. However, as soon as they did it, they showed their hand that they were still second graders playing this game. And a lot of it had to do with commentary, so I'll break it down.
Yeah, so there was a couple things that came out, a piece of news. I don't know, it just dropped today, but ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. After 3 years, CM Punk has received his first UFC victory.
I just covered this on headlines as our last story for the Friday locker room. So, yeah.
So according to MMA Junkie, Silvio, after the Freedom of Information Act request and confirmation from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, the former WWE champion's unanimous decision loss to Mike Johnson at UFC 225 has been officially overturned to a no contest. I guess he didn't actually get a win. But this is a record in regards to Mike Jackson testing positive for marijuana. So because of Illinois' no tolerance policy for marijuana, we recommend that marijuana use be discontinued for anyone participating.
We do lead a very adventurous lifestyle.
Since we're outside all the time, away from hospitals, we decided to join the network. The odd thing was it
Sorry about that.
It's the Illinois State Department.
The Illinois State Department not happy about me reading their fucking article. So there you go. CM Punk, he's got a loss overturned. He's back in the game, Silvio.
Well, I mean, I respect the fuck out of what he attempted to accomplish. That's a very difficult thing. It's a technicality, but it's better than a loss. Bigger part is the marijuana. Like Nick Diaz was famous for the same thing. He would get popped and suspended from UFC all the time for marijuana. We just had the lady on the U.S. Olympic team. I believe she was in track of some kind. She was a runner that now can't be part of the Tokyo Olympics because of a marijuana test. How that's viewed as a performance enhancer just boggles my mind. I can't understand it. If anything, it's a performance dehancer. Like I know if I got fucking stoned, the last thing I want to do is run a marathon.
Dude, I get stoned and I go for
what
a
do you
walk.
think, Hamin?
I get stoned and I walk through a daze to this downtown city of Denver. I'm not running anywhere. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, would you want to fight would you want to get super stoned and go fight somebody, Matt?
No, I want to get super stoned and end up somewhere where I can eat food. That's usually what happens. I'm like, all right, this place looks good.
What do you think about all this?
I agree with you 100%. So I think a lot of our friends' lives have been ruined by commissions that should be non-existent, that have way too much power for no apparent reason except to tax and intimidate. They do nothing to facilitate or help promote or protect. All they do is instill fear and loathing, and
take your money
and take money, and for no reason. They have no respect from the people in the business because they've never done this business themselves. So, but they're the ones who are supposed to be the regulators. All they are thieves. All they are government thieves. And this marijuana back and forth. I mean, whatever for Punk, like if that's just a funny little, but on the story, you know what I mean? You're 100% right on the greater argument, and especially with where we are with 19 states having legalized marijuana, and this girl having her chance taken away, probably use that as an excuse because she was probably going to whoop somebody's ass, and they didn't like that. So it's just not the fucking Nancy Reagan 1980s message anymore. But they're going to use it when they want to. You want marijuana athletes? I mean, we can all make the stoner jokes, but you want a marijuana athlete? How about Michael Phelps? Anybody going to say anything there? No.
Wasn't he filmed doing like huge bong hits?
Yeah, he was on the cover of High Times and shit, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's been a marijuana athlete. And what did he have to do? Like the rest of us, get some fucking bullshit thing from a head shop, flush your system, beat the test, all this bullshit that was all because of intimidation. because of these bodies and entities that they know better than what it is, and they bow down and they use them as power. As an athlete, they should just worry about training and performing. Instead, this is guys, when people say, well, then you shouldn't do this. Well, then that's bending your will before you even do that. Like, why do I have to weigh that in my life if it isn't a contributing factor, performance enhancing drug? If it is a drug that is more healing for an athlete's body, or what they need to do to come down or balance themselves, whatever medicinal use they use it for. All that is like that's the non-argument to them. They just want to crack whip and fucking get the gotcha, because these are some old bullshit rules, even though the world around them and those same people who are pulling that trigger on there are probably invested in the legalization and getting kickback from the government on the weed as it gets legalized as well. So they're double dipping on both sides, and they're the dirt bags that need to be chased out of every town with pitchforks and torches.
John Boehner, former Speaker of the House, Republican, now works for a marijuana company, is one of the figureheads.
So I think there's two parts to this. The first part is while I agree that marijuana shouldn't be a restriction in regards to sports, globally speaking, marijuana is not legalized. So she knew the risks that were involved in regards to smoking marijuana. What's interesting, I think, is the follow-up. Is she got suspended for 30 days, right? And her suspension is going to be complete before the actual trials begin. And the excuse that we were given, or not excuse, or the reasoning, is that because of her suspension, then they had to bump up the next people who had a lesser score, and it wouldn't be nice to them to then take them out of the Olympics. Well, they never beat her, so they already lost to her. And if what she did is not going to affect the actual event, meaning her suspension is lifted before the event, then she should be able to run. That's where the argument, I think, really lies.
Remember when it was a whole rib in '96 when the Canadian snowboard team got popped? All for weed? No. Yeah, dude. And they had all Canada fucking shirts with the weed leaf in the fucking middle and shit. And Canada snowboard team. I went to school right near the border, so it was like, a big rib there. But they want to play by these rules that were set in motion 25 years ago because they knew they could use it as leverage. It's just absolute bullshit. And not to say it should undo or whatever do with Punk, but this is my point. I man, in the locker room, you're going to shift to this rule now. Well, what happens when they claim to be woke in 3 years and everything's legalized across the board that way? And then now are they going to take that back from Punk and give it to the other dude retroactively back as a win? Like, it's just asinine. You know what I mean? They're like the whole fucking setup, and anybody arguing on the other side of it needs their fucking hands whacked.
Or as Drake Wirtz like to point out with Brad
based on the way. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say just the World Woke Entertainment, and you can check out the Rad Rob interview with Drake Wirtz right now. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Silvio.
There you go. But no, I mean, I'm glad that we brought this up because I don't think we've ever dug really much into the commissions and stuff on this show. Like taking Kentucky, for example, you remember just as well as I do after the Benoit incident, all of a sudden the Kentucky Athletic Commission decided they were going to test for marijuana. And I think Coke was the other one.
Yeah, like I told not this whole story, but my version of it will be on the Friday locker room. And I love that you're getting, without us talking about this at all, we're in the same mind space and you're telling the exact same story through your eyes. Go ahead, please.
Sweet. So you'll get to hear mine today and Hamin's tomorrow. But yeah, so Kentucky just decides for whatever reason, because Benoit murdered his family, that these wrestlers can't smoke weed and these wrestlers can't do illegal drugs like cocaine. However,
or steroids.
No, not true. There was no testing at all for steroids, and you could ingest.
But he said, Ace stood there in front of us and went, we're not hiring anybody who's on that shit. You know what I'm talking about. And then they hired Ryback and fucking Abraham Washington.
Yep. But as far as the Kentucky Athletic Commission, steroids were not banned, nor were pain pills. And those were some of the key factors, along with, early dementia that led to Benoit's, unfortunate, tragic ending to his life. So for me personally, I'd smoked for quite a while. I tried stopping, and then I would kind of go back and forth, like you were saying. Some of the guys would buy the fake piss and stuff. And eventually I said, fuck it. Weed is not worth risking my pro career. If WWE doesn't want people on weed, or if I got to worry about getting drug tested, so I just stopped smoking. Now later, I went into it a little bit on this show. My intake, wrestling fucking hurts. And when you do it at a schedule, like at the time we were having 3 to 5 matches a week, it wears on your fucking body. So as I accumulated injuries, that was in the boom of prescribing pain pills. I mean, you remember the way fucking it was. They were everywhere. So
yeah,
my usage.
We were knees. Let's put it all in a bigger perspective, as Matt was talking about fucking conspiracy earlier. Now we're knee deep in Afghanistan. The fucking opium pipeline is wide open, and doctors are fucking handing out Oxycontins like they're fucking Pez dispensers, bro. Go ahead.
Yep. So my usage of pain pills increases over the next few years, leading to some troubles in my own life. Thankfully, I was able to get out of that, and nothing awful happened. I was able to catch myself before I, hit bottom, kind of thing. But I can only imagine, had they not pressed for us not to smoke weed, that probably wouldn't have even been factored in. Same thing happened in WWF in the 80s when they told the boys they were going to drug test and they couldn't smoke pot anymore. All the boys switched that weren't already doing it, switched to booze and pills. Look at the list of wrestlers from that era that have already died, from Hawk to Rick Rude to Kurt Hennig, blah, 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 all the way down the line. There's a fucking direct correlation with those decisions to not be able to partake in a fucking natural organic substance like marijuana versus a pharmaceutical. It makes no sense.
You're spot on. So I can't say it any better than that. It's the big discussion that's been had for 20 to 30 years, but the dried up shrivs who still fucking stand in the way until they get their kickbacks on their kickbacks are going to fucking cunt up the system. They're just the worst. They're the worst people on the planet.
How dare you smoke marijuana as I sit indoors and smoke cigarettes with my 4 kids? You're a horrible person.
I will say you do have a little bit of a valid point, though, Matt. I don't even know if you were trying to make this point, but you basically said she knew that you're not supposed to smoke marijuana. It's against the rules. And she did it anyway. Had it been me and I'm going to be an Olympian and that's something I worked for 10 years to get to, I'm going to go a fucking month or 2 without pot if that's what I got to do for this fucking particular job. So that does weigh on her too. I feel bad for the lady and think it's dumb, but she should have fucking known better.
And I understand the emotional state too, because she had just found out, right, that her family member, her mother, had passed away. So like that was the kind of like the crux that she used. Unfortunately, though, yes, there should have been some more long-term thought at that. She shouldn't have acted out of emotion at that point. Somebody hopefully should have been there too. I would have hoped she maybe had a better support system, that she didn't have to learn that from some reporter. She didn't even find out from a family member. So I get the emotional side, but yes, there should have been some thinking. Do I really want to smoke this? Would mom be proud of me? I'm not trying to use that as a crap, but would mom want me to do this as I'm just about to go to the Olympics? Probably not. So like, there definitely needs to be some accountability on her end, but it's just weed too. So like, and she's in illegal states. Like I understood where she was coming from. And like I said, she really should still be on the team. If her suspension was before the trials, they should still let her run.
Oh yeah.
That's just my opinion.
And if she would have drank a liter of Jack Daniels that night instead of weed, went to the hospital with alcohol poisoning, she'd still be on the Olympic team.
Yep, that's ridiculous. Or if she had done cocaine, it would have been out of her system in 2 days. They wouldn't have found out.
She's been good.
So let's get into some AEW news. I got some numbers here for you guys. Last week's AEW Dynamite.
Maybe she just likes to get fucked up, and she did weed, cocaine, and fucking liquor, and they only it was like 4 days before, and then they just got her for weed.
Trifecta.
She really likes getting fucking railed right to the fucking. She did until she can't even stand up anymore. That's how she likes.
Yeah. You think she went to one of those like community center parties that advertise free dope?
Oregon.
Oh, absolutely. Oregon. There's a countdown to liquor day. You knew it was coming.
She was probably out on a commune somewhere. It's what they do out there. So AEW Dynamite last week garnered 883,000 viewers. So kind of back up to their average where they were at before the move to Fridays and Saturdays for hockey and basketball and whatnot. However, last night's AEW competition was CBS's Big Brother. And Big Brother is pretty huge when it comes to the ratings on network television. In fact, the overnight reports suggest that 4 million total viewers tuned in with a 1.0 rating. Regards to the other networks itself, NBC Stanley Cup coverage had 3 million with a 0.7. The CW's Kung Fu had 840,000 viewers, which is about the same as AEW, which, by the way, is owned by Viacom and Warner. And then Fox MasterChef, 2.4 million. And Crime Kitchen both dipped. And then there was an ABC show with 3.8 million called The Pyramid and Card Sharks. I guess there's some game shows or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Is Kung Fu a reboot of the David Carradine fucking show?
What was the David Carradine show?
Kung Fu in the 70s before you.
I mean, I think this is based on DC. It's a DC comic character, Kung Fu.
Okay.
They're trying to provide the Asian culture character right on television. So they've got Kung Fu, and she's a female, so they're making sure they hit all the demographics of what.
So yes, it is a reboot of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they've got that. Somebody told me they liked it. Like my coworkers, like I got into it. Now I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it's they're showing a lot of repeats too on Saturday nights of it, so they're really pushing it. But we also have the numbers for YouTube as well, as the YouTube numbers this last week from Saturday's episode were up 1.7 million. It had a total of 2.5 million. The most viewed video with 310,000 views was MJF versus Sammy Guevara. The least viewed video itself was the MJF backstage promo with 50,000 views. The overall average for all their videos was 200,000. So those are your AEW Dynamite numbers from the last couple weeks. Now to get into the show, AEW Dynamite itself. Unless you have anything else, Silvio, any stories you'd like to talk about before you get in?
Yeah, there was a bit of interesting AEW news that broke within the last few days that is definitely worth discussing.
That Nyla Rose didn't want Matt sending any more dick pics.
What? That's not accurate.
That is true.
I've never taken a picture of myself nude, period. So
sure.
Hold on.
That's actually 100%.
Dad, what's up? Hey, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can.
You're on air right now. We're in the middle of a show. The carpet guys just The carpet guys just finished. It looks good.
All right, no worries. That's all I want to go back to your show.
Yeah, man. What'd you think of AEW last night, Dad?
I'm waiting for Hacksaw Duncan to show. I've got the match scheduled, but he just doesn't want to play.
He doesn't want none with the king, maybe. So Hacksaw, you're first. All right. I'll talk to you,
so just bring him on. We'll meet him in Boonville, set the ring up, and we'll go with it.
All right, we're with it. The rematch is on. It is on.
All right, good to go.
YOLO.
Goodbye.
There you go.
You have it. After all these years, still got that heat with Hacksaw.
All right, so breaking news, Silvio. What is it? The big news you'd like to speak?
So the AEW news recently, Kenny Omega underwent some stem cell and plasma treatment therapy to recover from some injuries. He evidently had a hernia, some kind of injury to his tailbone, normal wear and tear, he said, on his knees, and some kind of stomach virus in that Double or Nothing match where he went against Pac and Cassidy.
Did you say hernia?
Yes, hernia. Yeah. And so he had the stomach bug during the pay-per-view, as well as ended up getting 7 stitches after that match. So he seemed to be in pretty rough shape. After the treatments, he said he is feeling better than before. It's not like a cure-all. He's not necessarily great, but it has shown some improvement. So that just goes to kind of talk about how, Omega over the last several months has evidently been performing with a lot of injuries. We noted a few months back, Matt Jackson had the tear in his knee. I can't remember if it was his MCL or PCL.
And none of those guys smoke weed.
That is true.
And none of them do. So sorry, but that's a lot of pain to live with right there, what you just outlined. You know what I mean? And I don't think they do pills. I don't know them to be pill guys.
No, I know the Jacksons don't, and I doubt Omega does. But what's interesting about this in the bigger picture is Omega is a fabulous performer. He doesn't have a bad match. Whenever you see his matches, you know you're going to get something at minimum that's good, and there's a very good chance that it's going to be awesome. With his body hurting the way it is and him being in his late 30s, I hope to see some more of the character-driven, story-based Kenny Omega, as opposed to relying as much on the physicality for his matches, so we can get some more, life out of him if he chooses to stick around. Because it'd be a shame to see Omega go right now.
Dude, why did they bail on the porn stashes this week?
I don't know, but Omega kept his.
His look good.
Lenny.
You should have kept theirs.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe probably their wives. They're like, you are not coming home with that shit. Fuck out of here.
In regards to you mentioned stem cells. I think that there was something about recently that they're trying to legalize it again. I don't know. There's always I've read an article about stem cells. I went down some rabbit hole the other day. I think I just recently did an episode of South Park, which you can check out. Suck My Balls, South Park review. But yeah, let's get into then AEW Dynamite here. Like the fuse here as we're back for the review on Wednesday, July 7th, 2014. I'm excited to talk AEW with you guys here as AEW Dynamite tonight started off kind of like what you wanted to do. You kind of mentioned it last week. You were like, why don't they start off with them in the ring or already going? And QT Marshall was already in there. But of course it was a strap match. So you at least got to give the, the ambiance and the setup of them putting the straps on, right? And you got to tell the story of that. So we have Cody Rhodes taking on QT Marshall in a Miami street fight, South Beach street fight. South Beach
strap match. South Beach strap match.
There's always streets in South tonight. But the South Beach strap match, it was the typical four-corner strap match where the individual to pick up the victory has to touch all four corners of the match, of the poles of the turnbuckles of the ring. I don't like this match. I'm not saying the match wasn't good. I just don't like the concept of, I got to touch all four and then I win. I don't know. It's just, it's a little cheesy to me. But it was a good overall match between Cody and QT Marshall. They put on a great match, very aggressive with each other. QT Marshall got busted open. Ultimately, though, Cody did win. I mean, he got the victory here, and I guess this feud is done between him and QT Marshall, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Corey Treverson?
Why are we having a strap match out of nowhere?
Because they announced it on TV.
We're just doing strap matches, cold open strap matches now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, these guys are both good. They like working with each other. I don't know if I'd take a no-hands diamond cutter with my fucking best friend or not off the top rope. That's probably not me. They did the lights up, lights down as a setup to do a quick falsie for a spot later. So I like that. As they blamed it on the weather as a hurricane comes in. So that was a smart move. I got to go maybe Jerry Lynn on that. I don't know. Somebody ECW original, because what we get later is the redo of Jerry Lawler. So, but for Aleister Black to come back, this was a good little juke to be like, oh, weather's crazy, but the crowd's hot. Stadium's packed, looks awesome. These guys beat the shit out of each other. I like the match, but I'm saying to myself, why are we opening with a strap match? I don't understand that. I missed something I thought I watched last week.
Silvio?
I'm okay with them opening with it since they bookended it with the street fight. But what I do agree with you on, and we discussed this many times, is just the match kind of getting booked out of nowhere. They very often will book a big stipulation match without the necessary build to get to that stipulation. We've addressed that millions of times. But talking about the match itself, just as a standalone match, I thought this was excellent. With the strap match rules, all they needed to do was have Justin Roberts say it before the match. And to win this match, you must tag all four of the buckles, and then have the commentators put over the rules a little bit more at the beginning, because I'm sure they got it. The guys in the ring were so good too. The fans clearly got it as the match went on, but I'm sure a lot of fans had not seen a strap match before, modern fans. And I like it. The strap match was designed to be a violent affair. Like back in the days when wrestling was real and all that, this was something that was done for blood feuds. Like when you get smacked with that leather strap and the fans can see welts or blood, there's no way of faking that. So that was a way like to tell these are tough men and, generally be the blow off of a feud. So it was a way to get somebody over and let the other guy look like a tough son of a bitch in the meantime.
Plus, it makes the fake violence before or after on the next show more believable because those guys gave up that meat to fucking make sure the rest of the phony shit that's working is there's like, well, dude, you might say that shit's bullshit, but it was real. So he probably tagged him too, just off of that.
Yep, exactly. Correct. But I thought these two worked a very good match together. They had good chemistry, and I thought QT stood out, especially in this one.
I did.
He was ready, man. QT went out there to show that he can fucking go, and he did just that. I'm not the biggest like strap match fan overall in general. There are a lot of matches I'd prefer to see, but I was glued to this one. I thought they did a hell of a job from bell to bell, and I mean, I want to get your input on this. The performance he gave last night, QT, is a main event level heel performance. So do you think, because we haven't seen QT, obviously he's lost every match to Cody. We've not seen him featured in a prominent winning role as a top guy. Do you think if QT were to set out like a serious nutrition plan with a hired nutritionist and really hit his body hard, not that he's in bad shape now, and have a physique more akin to maybe what Andrade ended up looking like last night. If he got some more muscle on his frame and looked more physically imposing, could he have a legit, main event position, whether or not he's a top guy? I'm not saying that, but do you think that's a possibility? And is that what's holding him back?
I don't think it's holding him back. I think he's in a great spot if he's Cody's best friend or whatever, you know what I mean? And they got Nightmare Factory together and everything's cooking with gas that way. Yeah, I mean, some guys size-wise are more muscle, but you already got that. Sure, we all want to be in better shape in the ring a little bit, but is that going to take him up to whatever he's working Jericho and stuff or whatever, I don't know, man. Like, I think a better spot is to be where he is, the coach, the guy helping out with production, and a guy involved in a storyline that's based on emotion and real life friendship where the line is blurred. Fuck. I mean, everyone be like, don't be in this business unless you want to be champ. You're only champ because the booker says you're champ. Let's start there. But your storyline, if played out properly, no matter whatever story it is, from David and Goliath to you fuck my wife or whatever it is, bro, the brothers turned on each other, can parlay itself all the way to the top level where it intersects with the belt to do more business and really raise the stakes. So just because your business is down here doesn't mean it's not main event storyline, in my opinion. Belt changes and matches will come and go, and it's just whatever. A storyline is going to stay with somebody legacy-wise far longer, unless it's the true hero's journey to get to the top of the mountain for the title. See what I'm saying? So I think he's in a better spot and needs to just play more in the emotional realm of what's going on. What's his react? Well, you said he's lost every match to Cody. Boom. That's it. There's so much there on just that tree alone that we can pick from to go down different avenues of like, what's his reaction to this? Okay, now how do we turn up the volume and the circumstance, and what could possibly go wrong now for QT in that? Or what does that drive him to do something psychotic where he comes around and kidnaps Cody's new baby? Something very fucking, very like that shit is going to last 1,000. Remember Brian Pillman's title reigns in WWE?
No.
What do you remember?
Didn't have any.
Yeah, okay.
You remember the Austin incident. You remember the leg breaking on the chair. You remember the gunshot.
That's where
the
he
XXX files.
That's where he needs to be. Like, sure, get in better shape, but 20 pounds of muscle mass ain't going to do shit for El Idolo, bro. The guy's a brilliant performer, brilliant wrestler. If you can't communicate and get involved in a storyline where emotion is connected with your fan base, doesn't matter. It won't. You're not going to get over fully.
So you didn't see it as an issue that they just did a bull rope match with Dustin Rhodes 4 weeks ago? Because I liked that match. Like, it's not that I didn't mind the match. It's just the concept of it. They just kind of did a similar strap match thing. One with Dustin.
This was way better than the bull rope, and that was super cold. That was even less fucking planning than this one.
Let me put this over to you. Do you think at the training centers they're teaching them the fundamentals of how to work these gimmick matches, and then they go, let's book ourselves one on TV so we can show these kids?
There's definitely a possibility of that.
I think there might be a little of that in there.
All right. Well, following that, we had Cody Rhodes. After you mentioned he picked up the victory here, there's some loud Cody chants. The crowd was definitely really hot for this show. Hot
crowd.
Yeah, they were excited. There was a report that was relayed to me that some tarps were tried to be sold, but they weren't needed. So we're going to move on to the next WWE event in a couple weeks. We're sure to pick up some business there.
1.47 for Ross. So
exactly. So we'll be able to pick up some business certainly over there.
New all-time low.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't too good. So Sean Spears then is backstage and he's talking some trash about Sammy Guevara. About how he told Guevara he was going to get him. Every time you think you're one step ahead, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. But just as he says that, Guevara comes in, hits him with a chair, and then sits down in the chair and says, "Gotcha, bitch." I just don't understand these little simple hits. Like one time, like, I mean, I appreciate the fact they're selling the chair shot, but like, if you're going to beat somebody up, wouldn't you go a little bit further on them? Why is it just, okay, one time?
Yeah, it was super phony.
I'll get you next week. We'll fight next time. Why wouldn't you just come out now?
I like a one and done in the ring, like a fucking down and sell it and one and done, unless you're really getting vengeance. But in the pre-tape, that's where you fuck the guy up. So he comes back doing Spirit of 76 later. Well, first of all, the chair did come in wrong and hit him sideways, post-wise, and put him down. But then to like have to do cool guy, put it between my legs backwards, let me get a promo over you, instead of fucking bang, hit him one more, gotcha, bitch, and be running off. You know what I mean? Like, ha, ha, ha. These are the things where AEW has the right idea, starts the execution, and then goes, wrestling's completely phony, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, Spears was looking right at him where he would have had to throw the chair from. You know? So that makes Spears dumb, too. He's cutting a promo and he can't see him coming. Okay.
Like, at least he, if you don't want to hit him again, hit him. And then as you're walking out, you don't have to throw it, but just kind of like lightly toss it above him and then have it come down. Gotcha, bitch. And then walk out of the scene rather than Sean Spears kind of just sitting there moving back and forth. It didn't really feel like that the chair shot got that.
It feels wrestling phony, bro.
It did. It felt a little phony. Silvio?
I would have rather have seen Spears cut a promo. Just no chair, just fucking let him talk. And then an hour later in the show, Sammy cut a promo. I would have preferred that in backstage pre-tape promos than to have that scene. What they're running into is the thing that drove me nuts with Sting and Team Taz for 16 weeks straight. That the last few weeks, every week is a stupid fucking quick 30-second or 1 minute chair thing with fucking Sammy and Spears where one shot and somebody dies. And I was just yelling at a couple of my students last night for doing the Audrey Hepburn sell. Like they would take something and then, I'm out of it. I can't get up. I fainted. So that's essentially what these grown men are doing. They're taking one chair shot and they're just doing it over. Once we've seen it once, it's
like enough that you would take one and then just like a dude could sit there on a chair right next to you and you're not going to fucking grab him by his fake fucking arm and pull him down, start wailing on him. Like, that's so bullshit, dude. He needs to do a quick run by and get the fuck out of there. They set it all up. I was fine with that. The chair shot, even I was like, all right, even if you could see him coming and he took it, that's vicious. But then that last little bit of get your shit in stuff, we're off to the fucking backyard federation, everybody. Like, we're out at the second grade on the playground playing wrestling. We're not really doing it.
Thus far, they've done 3 variations that come to mind of that same spot. One was in that Stampede match, the Stadium Stampede. Last week, we had a very similar one, I think, where Sammy got hit coming into the building. And then later, I think he got it back on him in the same show. And then today, of course, we have this one of Spirits getting it. So it's just more of the same.
Who's gonna wear a black glove? Oh, I don't know.
Chris Statlander.
Colin mentioned something here. One of our hosts from Impact Attack. He wanted to know: have we talked about the AEW Women's Bikini Calendar? So Jade Cargill had put out a tweet a couple of days ago that said, "AEW Women's Bikini Calendar, would you buy?" What do you guys think of that question? It's kind of seems like a.
Well, is it gonna be just the women of AEW, or are you gonna turn this into an SJW? You have to accept Nyla Rose as a woman, and that's the one for June for LGBTQ Awareness Month, and we're going to put it in there, and it's going to be our subtle, you eat this fucking political message, and if you disagree with us, then you're the asshole, or rip June out. If you don't like June, skip June, whatever the fuck. Or is it just going to be real women who are anatomically born as women, and there's no extra bullshit tied to it?
Well, before let's still go, I was just going to say, I guess I was taking more of the thought of the SJW, right? Not necessarily on like the LGBTQ stuff, just from the mindset of that the AEW audience tends to be more vocal, or at least pretending to be more vocal about the fact that they want women's wrestling, not women who look good.
They just want to fucking go up and whack the fucking bee's nest if they want to do that. So to get people talking so they can show that they're the woke company. And if you disagree with it, the fucking heat is on you. And it's really not about honoring anybody but themselves to say, look how fucking we are in 2022. So as opposed to what a bikini calendar is supposed to be, you know what I mean?
I'll buy it.
Now the 10-year-old who loves AEW and even gets the bikini calendar now has some message of sexual confusion, prepubescent in there because you have a transvestite as fucking June in it, dude. Like that is where everyone and every corporation wants to cross the line, blur the line, and use that like they're not using it for marketing, but they're using it for their own fucking self-edification. Attaboy, look how fucking woke we are. But I really know what's going on and how they're using it.
So do you think it's good for their vision, or I guess their goal of trying?
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, you know, they have some attractive women on their roster. Like, they're put out a calendar. Cool. My biggest question is Vicky going to be in this? And I believe the answer is yes.
I will watch it then.
I think it's gonna be probably that beach pose of her and Nyla. Remember the towel they had made? The Vicious Vixens towel that had them in bikinis. That will be the shot. I think that
if they're going to do it, and I got no problem with any of this. I'm just spelling out the marketing for it. If you're going to do it and you got all the fanboys and you want to do the SJW, then make it the AEW bikini calendar. You know they want to do it. You know you want Jungle Boy out there in a little nut hugger. You know you want Kenny Omega to do his little fucking European bikini Shawn Michaels pose. Make it a fucking unisex one and make it sexy. Then you can slide Nyla in. You can slide Sonny Kiss in, because people will look at Sonny's ass and go question their own sexuality, because that's the power of Sonny Kiss's ass. And they should be telling that story too. They should be telling like an ally who's straight is mesmerized by Sonny Kiss's ass, because that's how it is in every locker room that he's in. So, but nobody wants to fucking laugh at themselves. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to, like, they just want these unsung conversations with guess what we're going to get over on your 10-year-old kid in your house if you buy this or not, instead of embracing the whole thing. And then the Bucks even got whatever you want on too. You know what I mean? And make it like that. But bikini calendar means women. And now if you try and put that in, if you try and put Nyla Rose in under that, guys, now we got a fucking different issue that's only meant to pluck the strings of people to be in the conversation, not service a good product.
I think you're thinking far too deeply into that. I mean,
I know.
I think they simply wanted to put out, for whatever reason, a fucking women's calendar.
And if they
Nyla, do, and that's fine, right? Nyla is on their roster. Nyla was their women's champion. And in her life and on that show, Nyla Rose is a woman. She identifies as a woman. So it would be unfair, in my opinion, to not include her, who was your women's champion. I think for quite a while she held the title.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong either. I'm saying they are trying to spark this discussion more than they are to deliver a product. You see what I'm saying?
I do, but I feel you might be thinking too deep.
Classes, I say marketing is the most racist, ageist, and sexist thing we can partake in as marketers. It's not personal, but I need to know how to sell to single lesbian mothers in fucking the West Coast and what their buying habits are, who are also Asian. I also need to know, and what does that breakdown do, and what are they trying to do? We don't have fucking gay Legos just for no reason, and M&Ms and all this shit, bro. It all goes down in the marketing of this, and this is what that push will be underneath the surface. I'm not trying to say one can or can't be in it. It's just how it's presented.
Here's my counter argument to that theory. I mean, marketing involves making money and getting more, publicity, right? So no offense to her at all, but Nyla Rose is certainly not in the running for Miss America. I think I can't remember what beauty pageant, but we had the first trans woman to win a fairly large beauty pageant. Let's say, for example, Penelope Ford happened to be transgender. Well, putting Penelope Ford the way she looks on a magazine or calendar, I could see a lot of men being like, oh shit, I'm going to buy that calendar. Whereas I don't think Nyla has that same kind of sex appeal, I guess, that other people have. So it's not like they're going to sell 2 million copies based on the fact that everyone's like, man or woman is like, oh, Nyla's hot, Well,
we'll wait till fucking what's his name, Paige, whatever he identifies as now, fucking Juno, is on the cover of Men's Health magazine, fucking with her gimmicks cut off and fucking implanted 6-pack abs on gas, and we can all fucking shoot for that.
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, and that's how they want to push this stuff underneath the surface. If it's presented a different way, no issues whatsoever. If they try and fly it under the radar, and then that's just a different message and delivery system, and what they're trying to do, it speaks volumes to me.
I just want to say that if I was a kid growing up right now, an adolescent in this day and age, it'd be very confusing, because you've got a vocal minority of individuals online and on TV, and people telling you that we need to be treated equally and you shouldn't sexualize people, and et cetera, but then turn around and buy my shit where I'm half naked. It's just a very confusing time in society. I would rather just be up front, buy my shit, I'm naked. Yeah.
And that's why I say sexualize everyone. The men, that's the solution. That's the marketing solution.
ESPN, the body issue,
as opposed to trying to
do
something under the radar and possibly setting yourself up to be canceled because you thought you were slick because you needed to slide this through as normalcy, when it's not. Normalcy is then going you want to do sexuality, then everybody's included in it. Not respect me but look at my crotch. Like, that's just how it is. Or it's like, respect me and look at all of our crotches.
Yeah, I mean, tastefully speaking, ESPN does a really good job with that body issue. I'll just open it up. I'll be like, damn, Serena Williams is freaking ripped on her muscles there. You know what I mean? So, like, they do a good job on kind of removing that sexualization, but still going, she's hot, So, and they do it with guys. So I think you're right. They should be showing both if they're going to put out a bikini calendar. But they probably will, Ben. I mean, they know their market. They know the girls that are coming and seeing Jungle Boy, right? And they know the opportunity they have to sell Miro. You could put him in a singlet too. I'm sure somebody would gush over that. So, I mean,
would you guys consider posing for and launching a 2022 HMG calendar, all inclusive?
If you can give me some tips on get the 6-pack, I'll do it with you. I mean, I'm already skinny, so I just need the 6-pack. Let's do it.
I mean, you in?
I don't know what I'd wear. I'd have to see, but yeah, I'm in for sure.
Can you get Vince on board?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Russo.
Yeah, Russo be in, no doubt. Something sexy.
Oh God.
Okay. So following that, speaking of Kenny Omega and his half sexy Shawn Michaels pose, he comes out and he's got an interview with Tony Schiavone, and we begin the continuation of take the mic from Tony Schiavone gimmick as it started.
Good walk off. He does a great walk off too.
Right, he does. And I also got to give Kenny Omega a little bit of credit because Don's the one that shoots Kenny off, and Kenny kind of like even looks over to like Tony, like, all right, it's all right, just leave. Like, so a little bit of respect, at least the champ gave to Tony Schiavone there. So we have him come out. He cuts a promo, that being Don tells Tony Bahama to buzz off. He wants to give Miami a history lesson, and then the crowd starts chanting, "You got fired." I'm assuming that's from the Impact stuff. I haven't been watching Impact the last couple weeks, but I'm sure if you'd like your full recap, you can go check out the Impact Attack with Colin Weissong in the bed. He says, "Real men don't quit, they get fired." Cal shouts. He runs down the list of defeats that Kenny has had. There's no one left for him to beat, once again, as they said last week. Crowd then starts chanting, "We want Hangman." Don then is about to run down the crowd, but Dark Order comes out. Evil Uno has the mic. He asks Kenny why is he ignoring the crowd, which they start yelling cowboy shit. He then asks Uno, "What is the capital of Thailand?" And it was at this point I went, "Oh, we're doing grade school."
Here we go. I know. I'm like,
cool jokes now, okay. And
what kills me is we just came off of WWE where fucking Drew is talking about how he beat up the Loch Ness monster and they took its tooth and made its sword out of that. And I'm going, what is this dumb, terrible little kid bullshit? Then I have to get to watch AEW. You know what the capital of Thailand is? I quit. I fucking quit, bro.
Dude, I groaned. I went, "Oh no, really? We're gonna do this?" Champion of the organization is asking Bangkok jokes here, which that's the payoff, obviously, and he hits him in the nuts. And then this breaks down into a fight between the Dark Order and the Elite, and it ends up with Hangman coming out. Just as Hangman's about to go for a buckshot on Kenny, he gets out of the ring and they stare down and blah, blah, blah. That's how it ends. So what'd you think of this still? I mean, I like the Kenny. Somebody pointed this out. I know that I'm not saying AEW has done this on purpose, whether it's been intentional or not, but someone pointed out the whole storyline arc that they believe they've tried to build as far as Hangman leaving the Elite, coming back, and now leading back up to this Kenny Omega and Hangman Page encounter. I think they've done a great job on that, and I'm happy they didn't actually touch. I'm like, "Oh, that's good." I don't need to see, but the Bangkok thing was kind of dumb. What do you think?
That's one of the many things I love about Light the Fuse. I liked it. I liked the Bangkok part. I didn't jump out of my seat in hysterics. I wasn't rolling around laughing, but I was fine with it. I thought it was cutesy. Like it fits the kind of person that Kenny Omega portrays himself as. As far as the segment itself, I thought Omega's outfit was great. Callis's promo was all right. The only thing I really didn't like about this,
I like when they said you got fired to him, then they tried to shake him.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I didn't like about this is, again, we had the entire Dark Order come out. Thankfully, they didn't all hit the ring. Just Uno came in to speak on Hangman's behalf. It felt to me kind of like if in '94, an underneath babyface, let's say 1, 2, 3 Kid came to the ring to talk to the heel Sid Vicious and try to get him to have a match with Diesel. You'd be like, why the fuck is 1, 2, 3 Kid advocating for Diesel? Diesel can whip his ass. Like, why wouldn't Diesel be out there himself? Sure. So that was still weird with me. Yet another week of doing that. But it really, Omega's performance in this was good. It really picked up once Hangman hit the ring. I really liked his fire and bumping everyone around. And I love the interaction and the eye contact with him and Omega at the end. That's a money build if they do it right. That's the story that goes back to day one of AEW pretty much. So if they book that down the line for the next or even the following pay-per-view, that's what I'd rather see. 2 pay-per-views from now, so they get 6 months to build to that, and there's Hangman's fucking win. Hopefully he has nothing even resembling a relationship with the Dark Order by that point, but odds are they'll come and put him on their shoulders.
I was going to say maybe that leads to a tag match is what we get at Fyter Fest or something like that. Hangman and Uno or something versus Kenny Omega and Nakazawa or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Something to where that we don't have to actually see them in that one-on-one matchup as you were referring to.
I'd rather just see Kenny versus Uno. Imagine if we could get 6 months without them having a match with each other.
Well, I mean, we're kind of at that, aren't we? I mean, they haven't really touched or interacted since the breakup and the tag team dissolved.
We haven't acknowledged anything about their feud until last week.
Okay. Ben? Any other thoughts?
This Kenny was good in this. I liked him. I liked the look. This is fine promo for all that except for Bangkok. When I do the Bangkok bit, you guys run out and you see everybody just fucking pile out. You're like, oh, more phony wrestling bullshit. They're all just waiting for their cue. And instead of there's something in the back, and we see them fighting in the back and you know what I mean? And even that could have been the fucking look up to the monitor to kick them in the nuts on. But what do I know? I'm not Booker of the Year. I'm just trying to think of a clever way to turn Dark Order, who's already comedy cheerleaders for Kenny or for Cowboy, into something different. Like Dark Order, if you break them up, you got to fire them. There's nobody in there except for Cole Cabana that's worth keeping on the roster with the opportunity you got to get main level players, you know. But together, they could be something as a character comedy group that is a chameleon and ever changing. They can claim. Am I? You guys hear me or no?
You're a little spotty.
All right, I just saw the shitty internet thing pop up. Like they can be a cheerleader now for Cowboy, but could they become like a Cowboy clique? And then once he's over and transitions out of it, they'll just be something, and they find somebody else to glom onto and become a cheerleading group for them. And the Dark Order just keeps changing. Like in a sometimes a heel way, sometimes in a real babyface way, but it keeps those guys together to be able to do something. But the way it's working right now is just like they're kind of an anchor around Cowboy's neck, in my opinion.
Do you agree with me that they should not, under any circumstance, be speaking for Hangman?
Yeah, I agree. Like not coming out as his mouthpiece, unless there's somebody who's dedicated to. And Player Uno, it just looks goofy in the mask to come out and cut something in the mask when you're supposed to look like a lizard person or whatever. I don't know, man. It's just it's all thrown together with fucking bubblegum and fucking dreams.
You have a point, though, of kind of changing the act. I could see them kind of being in like a Kai and Tai kind of role.
Yes.
Comic relief. I could also see them using mockery. Like, I think it would be great. Like, let's say if next week they came out mocking the Elite. They wore someone dressed up like Luke Gallows with the hat. Someone else was Anderson, the Young Bucks.
They do the DX fucking without the blackface shit. Yeah, absolutely.
I think if they were to, disband the Dark Order or whatnot, I think John Silver would be a good pairing with Hangman. I think he would be kind of like that side little
little buckaroo. Yeah.
Like Tonto.
Yeah, Tonto. Exactly. That'd be funny. But other than that, you're right. Other than Colt Cabana, there's not really much else that somebody's got themselves over in that group as far as on the mic or character wise. And then, we've got Bangkok. I didn't realize that the Scottish thing happened with the Loch Ness Monster. I mean, that's
I need about 350.
Need about 350,
350.
So bad.
Were they trying to present that, like it was factual?
Well, I think Drew's new thing is he tells tall tales, because he also in the opening said that he was related to what's a dude from the fucking Alamo? I can't remember his fucking name. God damn it. Whatever. So he was talking all that shit.
Don't remember it. Sorry.
Yeah. And then it tells all this fucking Braveheart bullshit. And it just means nothing. At the end, it's just him ribbing Vince back on something. So now we're writing these sketches for just to rib them. Imagine, dude, every SmackDown is $3.8 million. Each Raw, I think, is 2.7. And that's what they're doing.
So it wasn't like when Hogan would say far out things like, I backstroked across the Atlantic Ocean and had the Hulksters on my back.
It was. And it's like, but the story goes on of like Nessie was tormenting all the fishermen in the bay. So my great grandfather went out there and he got behind her, put her in the chokehold, gave her the claymore and knocked her big tooth out, brought it back to shore. And then we had it fashioned into this sword, and like, but the sword's made of steel, so it's not. But then we became friends with Nessie. We befriended her. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then he gets to the end of it, he goes, but none of that matters. And it doesn't even matter if it was true, because I'm going out to the ring. You're like, oh, sweet.
350.
So it's told like a fable as opposed to Hogan, who he's just
what it started was with Vince seeing Braveheart, and now I'll go out there and tell the story of William the Bruce and all the people. And William the Bruce fought on the bridge, and he slayed so many men that they stacked them 12 high. You could barely cross the bridge and all that. And what was the strategy? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you my strategy. I've just got a Money in the Bank match. What?
And you got to say fucking bless Drew's heart. As much of like the crap that's been thrown his way, you could see that motherfucker
guy is a
trying to get over no matter what. I got tons of respect for
the
him.
guy has fucking top of the line fucking 80s good looks. You know, he's a fucking stallion, one of the coolest guys there is, and we're doing fucking kick Loch Ness Monster's tooth out and made a sword. Then Jinder steals the sword because now he's got the heirloom, and the sword, Vince's sword, given to him by Triple H and Stephanie as a birthday present. So now we have Vince playing with his sword with all these other kids stealing the sword. Jinder also showed up to the show on his motorcycle, and the heat with Drew was that he didn't fucking text Drew back within 3 days to go for a bike ride together. And the sword has no scabbard or fucking anything to do with it. So now Jinder has to ride his Harley home with either the sword in one hand held high while he tries to steer a Harley, or has to put the sword in his mouth, which is super safe as well, and drive home that way. So what could possibly go wrong at this point?
Nothing.
Bro, it's fucking brutal. 1.47. And that's a point that Stevie made in the show. Why isn't Khan saying, fuck this, we're going to Monday this next week? We're going to Monday. If they're doing Loch Ness Monster and swords, we can, dude, anybody can outdo that.
Matt, what's the key competition on Monday?
Could you imagine if if it was Monday and Aleister Black showed up?
Yeah, be hot. Everyone would have switched.
I'm sorry, what was your question, Silvio?
What's the key competition on Monday nights?
For Monday Night Raw?
Other than Monday Night Football a few months
It was
ago.
this week, it was NHL Finals and with the July crowd.
Is there a show like
No.
How does Raw do compared to like Tucker Carlson? Shit like
It's
that?
annihilated.
Annihilated. Yeah. I mean, the news shows dominate cable network. Those are your 6 to 8 million average daily, you know.
0.41 in the demo.
Gotcha.
I just thought it was interesting. You know, you mentioned, what is it? A&E is owned by the History Channel. They could have done something with that. I don't know. Would have been interesting.
Could have.
I don't know. So let's move on to earlier in the day. We had JR. He had sat down with Ethan Page and Darby Allin and said he felt really uneasy because both men were talking about ending each other's career. Ethan Page is just about to start explaining why, but then Darby cuts him off and basically explains the whole I guess, I don't know, animosity between the two is that it took Ethan Page 12 years to get to AEW, and it only took Darby Allin 1 year. So what Darby did in 1 year, it took Ethan 12 because Ethan became complacent. I became lazy and didn't really fight for it. And Ethan Page agrees with him. He's like, you are right. You skipped the front of the line. And then they said that next week, one of them is going to end each other's career in the coffin match. First ever coffin match is what they said. Anybody like this, Silvio?
This was great story building, and I'm glad they finally got that out. This also is where JR particularly shines very bright.
Oh yeah,
we discussed JR last week. This is a good spot for him. All we were told before, just think about this, right? So Ethan Page comes in, and pretty much out of nowhere, he's trying to kill Darby Allin, and the only reference that was made to it was Excalibur would say things like, and yeah, these guys had some wars on the independents. So all we knew is that they wrestled each other years ago, but why the fuck is he trying to murder Darby and end his career? Well, last night we got the incomplete explanation, which I love in pro wrestling, as Rip Rogers says, we idiot-proofed it. There's no question why this is happening now. I wish we could have knew a little bit more of this earlier, but I'm not going to complain about it. I still got the steak dinner. I just got it a couple weeks later than I wanted. I
kind of almost think that way a little bit more, don't you, this way on this story? Because now it was the first time, like, he doesn't want to rock the boat because he's just, hey, get out of there. Sorry. Doesn't want to rock the boat because he's just back, you know, so he doesn't. But this is his feud, and now you get to see it. And what's his heat? He jumped the fucking line. He was nobody. I was working my ass off. I saw this kid, gave him some good matches, yada, yada, yada. And he gets to fucking go. And I still got to go do the, let me get on an Impact 250 deal. Then maybe I'll get signed to Impact and maybe make 1,000. Oh, then I'm their tag champ for a year and we fucking kill it. Then I get to come over here and now I'm mismatched with fucking another guy who's kind of in the wind, but we're going to make the most of it. Meanwhile, you get to work with Sting as your first fucking feud. Fuck you. Fuck you. Like, that whole feeling was in there. Very good, right? Very good. And for a mid-card feud. Now we're right back to our QT Marshall discussion. See the difference of fuck belts, bro. That's the real right there. That's the connection. Killed it. I thought this was great.
Yep, very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had no complaints here. So after that, we get FTR and Wardlow with Tully Blanchard taking on.
Polio.
I'm sorry?
Did that say polio?
Loli. Well, I don't know where she went. If she went into the back part of the fucking
FTR and Wardlow with Tully Blanchard taking on
Loli.
Santana and Ortiz with Conan. Fucking Pinnacle win. All right, review the match. There you go. This was a quick match. I thought it was going to go a little bit longer, but it just kind of ended abruptly. So, I mean, that was kind of a shocker. I like that. And
Hager was a beast in this. Everybody made Hager. He looked fucking like a killer out there.
Mhm.
But basically, the match ends with Hager and Wardlow going back and forth. Hager rolled through and got Wardlow in an ankle lock, but then FTR managed to catch Hager in the big rig for the 1, 2, 3. So the winner of the match was Pinnacle. Afterwards, we saw Conan hit Wardlow with a orange in a sock or a mad ball. But Wardlow,
that sucked, bro.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I was like, dude, he just slocked them and he fucking he no-sold it. He should have gone down and Conan should have been trapped and the other guy's mad dog him. Then he gets up, you motherfucker, they're holding him and give Conan 1. But he hit him in the back with a fucking sock with pool cues in it, probably oranges, but it's supposed to be cue balls. And he no-sold it, bro. Not good. Not especially Conan got everybody so much heat last week. You know what I mean? To no-sell that killed me in this scene because I liked this segment, and then that little bit was real bad.
I don't feel as bad about Wardlow no-selling because of his size, but I do agree they didn't get as much out of that as they should have. The match itself was good. I guess Conan is sticking around now. I found it interesting that he was managing them on TV for this.
Yeah, me too.
Right? So that was an interesting choice. Also interesting was Wardlow and Hager. So we've already seen them twice, and there'd been a while where we built that drama, but when they squared off in front of the live crowd, the audience was still hot for it. So that shows there is still some wanting to see those two in the ring together. So that was a good sign. I agree. Hager shined really bright. I thought everyone did very well. Santana did this crazy cannonball flip into the corner at one point. The match itself was pretty damn good. Surprising finish. You know, we didn't expect that Hager would take the pin, nor when he took the pin. But as far as the Conan interaction, he comes in, he hits him with the sock, and then when they turn around to kind of confront him, Tully comes in and clips the knee, which I'm cool with. Tully getting the heat on Conan, so they have something with each other. That I'm fine with. But they did it all so quick, and once it happened, they moved right past it onto the next segment. So unfortunately for Conan, who knows his shit, it didn't really mean much because it was just 15 seconds. We got the sock, then right away, Tully's clipping his knee, no address to it. No, none of the announcers saying, "Oh my God, I hope Conan's okay. He's 60 years old. He's had a history of knee
that's all we had, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't mind the leg clip, but boom, he should have cracked him. Then fucking gets the knee clipped, overcomes the other guys, grab him. FTR pulls him up. Wardlow's selling up, and Tully's directing traffic. Like Tully's going to be the one to hit him. But then Wardlow goes, nah, pushes Tully aside and cracks him. So Conan gets caught, and then now Hager's got a reason to help out and be a part of the heat's raised. And, we still don't get Conan and Tully that protects that for the next time and even upset. They missed the big moment just after that, bro. Like that all that, because if it was all leading to that, man, we just shotgunned right through it.
You need attention to angles like that. You have to address it. You have to at least, at minimum, when you come back from break, be like, "Oh,
gotta walk through it too."
It looks like Conan has a fucking sprained knee. He's on his way now to get medical treatment. I hope he's all right. Something to make it sound like something happened to this man.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, if they would have stretched him out, that whole place would have been Conan, and fucking going nuts.
And fucking LAX down with their fucking head in their hands, like, I'm gonna get those motherfuckers, you know.
Dude, we missed all the fucking juicy stuff on that at the end of that.
So a couple things. First off, still, I want to ask you, do you think that, Jericho, I think they just announced that Fozzy is getting ready to go back on tour. Do you think they bring Conan in to kind of be that maybe staple there for the figurehead while Jericho's out on the road playing music, so you have somebody kind of to lead that inner circle group?
I guarantee you Jericho has 100% to do with Conan's tenure being there.
Oh, they're boys.
Whether or not he's a replacement for Jericho during that time period, I've never considered, but it's possible. Yeah.
Second thing, Chris Jericho, right now, if you'd like to hear him sit down with John Paz, the 2-man power trip,
awesome.
Patreon.com/the TMT Empire. And you can check out John Paz's sit-down interview with Chris Jericho. And third thing, I see that we got Billy Ray Valentine here in the chat room. Go check out the Infinite Fringe, as well as his stuff on with the America Unplugged, I believe. And then also, if you could go ahead and do a review on the Son of Sam, I would appreciate that. I'd like to hear your thoughts too. Anyway, let's move on. Next thing here, we've got our next, interaction post-match is we've got Conan, as we mentioned, hitting the Mad Ball. Then we got announced that Jon Moxley next week is going to defend the IWGP United States Championship against Carl Anderson. And then we cut to a video package of Machine Gun, talking about himself and talking about the Elite and how he's going to beat Jon Moxley and take the championship with him back to Japan as he makes his return to Japan with the Bullet Club, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been watching New Japan. If you like more New Japan information, go check out the Destino podcast. I'm like Jericho.
I'm super excited for that match. Anderson and Gallows have been criminally underutilized in AEW, both from a comedic standpoint and their work, mainly Carl Anderson's work. Thankfully, they haven't been losing, and we've got a few really good main events that they were in, but usually it's more of the same. Every time we see them, they're running out to do something and getting thwarted 99% of the time and ended up bumping around for Kazarian or whoever. Anderson's a hell of a worker, so I'm very interested in seeing this match. And I question why, maybe, you can answer this, why those two are not featured more prominently on AEW shows that they're appearing on every single week.
Because I think it's cheaper to pay them per performance than it is to lock them down on contract. And I think it's probably the same thing they have with Impact. And they know they can do that with New Japan and be the ones to go in between. But they're also smart enough workers working with their boys to go, yeah, I don't care if I'm under contract because I guess my night rate of $3,000 is fine with me working one day a week, getting to do that. And then I'll go over here and hit them and hit them and hit them. And I'm making more now. I was making $6 a week with WWE, but if I get Impact and go to Japan, I can be making close to 10. Just they know what they're doing, and they know they're going to be in the top storyline. So what if they sit out 1 week? They're going to be working Callis and with D'Amore and those guys to get themselves over on the other as well. So
you think the pay's the same whether they do a run-in on a Kenny Omega match versus if they have a tag team match?
Yes, and I think both those guys are supreme workers, man.
So if that's the case, and I'm AEW and I'm giving you the same amount anyway, have them working more. If I'm paying somebody to work for me, the more work that I can get out of them, not in an exploitive way, but just think of any fucking labor in the country. When you pay somebody to do a job, you want to get the most out of your money, right? It's fucking simple economics.
I agree. But that's
good for the Good Brothers to just have to run out. Fuck right. Yeah.
When the owners are in love with the other guys and they just see them as the backup muscle to do the run-in because they're hooked on these run-in scenes at the end, they're going to be like, bro, I can't believe we just got paid to do that shit the same way as if we would have to take bumps. He's like, I know, shut the fuck up. And then on to the next one, man.
And bro, fans might not understand this, but just like imagine you and I in a similar scenario where we were getting paid, let's say, our normal or double booking rate for matches to not have to wrestle. We'd fucking be in hog heaven, high fiving, fucking going out to Waffle House after and shit.
I kind of am in two places right now. It's not like we're making what they make, but at the same time, sometimes I don't have to wrestle and I just have to be a backup for GGP or Blaze Haram. But what you're getting from me marketing wise, promoting your show and the credibility is worth every fucking cent. So, and whatever segment I'm in, everyone always comes up at the end and is like, that was the fucking da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, we do things a little different.
So there you have it. Fans who don't know, sometimes we do enjoy getting paid to not have to hurt ourselves.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's when I enjoy it the most, especially with a 5-hour drive after.
Do you feel like, Silvio, that this is they're hyping it up as Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows' big return to Japan? But more importantly, Carl Anderson, he's the guy that's the bigger figure over there.
Yeah.
Carl Anderson wins, so that way he takes the title back with him to Japan for a homecoming.
It makes absolute sense in Japan. In AEW, it makes no sense because they haven't established Carl Anderson as a credible threat. They've shown he can work, and he's had some tag team wins, mostly 6-man. But if I was Tony Khan, I would feel very hesitant to beat Moxley again and have Anderson be the one that loses unless they have some very good business working with New Japan.
You don't think it could be like, I just feel like it's going to end up probably being a schmoz or something, something.
It could be a fuckery. I mean, there's a way to do it where, Moxley gets beaten, but there's an out, he gets hit from Gallows, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. But either way, he's going to have to take a loss. Yeah. And that would be his third high profile title loss. He lost to Kenny, then he lost to the Young Bucks, and now he'd be losing to Carl Anderson. So I don't know. If I was the booker, I'd be very gun shy about doing that with Mox. But I'd like to see it for Carl. From a fan standpoint, I'd love to see it. From a business owner standpoint, I don't know if I'd want it.
So before we got to our next match here with your boy, we had an in-ring segment and a backstage segment. The first one being MJF and Chris Jericho. So of course Jericho comes out. Miami sings along to Judas. Fan tried to get into the ring and tried to attack MJF, but he was removed and security removed him from the arena.
How far did he get? Because I fast forward through the entrances.
Got right to the ropes. Jericho took a swing at him.
Yeah.
I thought so when I fast forwarded and turned on, it looked to me like Jericho was rushing to grab a mic, and I couldn't tell if maybe he was trying to do something to MJF. So that was it. He kind of swung at a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, it was because I read that MJF was cutting the heel promo during the commercial real stiff to have him hot. And I don't know if he had focused in on that guy or whatever, but yeah, man.
He got him.
I like Jericho still being old school in that regard because AEW's the way that they operate, they would probably be adamantly against something like that. Jericho's just fuck that.
Fuck that. I'll beat the shit out of anybody trying to come in. I'm hoping they do. As soon as you stick your head through that fucking rope, it's mine.
Fan turns, of course, as mentioned, Jericho takes jab at it. MJF get into it. Dressed Jericho saying he doesn't blame Chris for wanting a piece of him. He said, and then, of course, Jericho says that he should have let that fat bastard fan come in here and beat MJF's ass. Chris says that he'll do anything to get a piece of Max. Runs down a couple things and then goes, even have sex with his mom. And I'm watching this. And I'm going, say it again. And I was like, yes, good job, Chris. See, that was a good line there. So continues on, says that he's, says that MJF is miffed by this. I'm sorry. And then said one of MJF's favorite part of Chris Jericho's career was his feud with John Moxley. He liked that he had Mox take on all of the inner circle. So he's going to take a page out of his book and make it better. Notes that he's a fan of Greek mythology and cites the labors of Hercules. Jericho accepts his labors, and MJF says that he's going to ruin his life. Jericho says that he ain't no mythology. He signs the contract. MJF is done, though. He says he doesn't come from a dumpster fire like Miami. He comes from Plainview in New York. And says that, we shake hands when we do business deals. Demands that Jericho shake his hand. Jericho obliges and then gives him a Judas effect. I know that's his finisher, but I thought he should have ended with the code breaker. I just felt like the camera angle for this Judas effect, it just didn't look as, I don't know.
What were we just saying about Gallows and Anderson a minute ago, Maddie?
There was a lot. What do you mean?
About them getting money, not having to work as much.
Right, yeah.
If Jericho did a code breaker, what would he have to do?
Yeah, take a bump. That's all he had to do last night. That's all he would have had to do. One bump.
I mean, if you get paid to do one bump or none, what are you going to do?
0.
Well, I get that. I'm just saying his Judas effect looks stupid. It
did look. It was a stupid spot again.
It wasn't killer. I'll agree.
It looked dumb.
That.
Well, why didn't he just have elbow surgery and blow his fucking elbow out?
Yes, he did. And I think that's his Judas effect elbow. Yeah,
and now he's doing spinning back elbows with it. Okay, all right.
Well, it's healed. He got the stem cells that Kenny Omega did.
These are just the little things that I know week to week. I'm no Booker of the Year, guys.
And here, if you put some stem cells next to another Shakey's pizza, it should replicate another Shakey's pizza.
This was definitely line of the year, the sex with your mother part. I just got to read my notes from this. MJF Jericho segment. Sitting across a long table from each other, Jericho offers to have sex with MJF's mother. Again. It could be just me. Maybe I've taken one too many power bombs. I mean, so tell me if you remember this. But when he was doing the Greek mythology shit, and he was like, Jericho, I'm sure you remember, and everyone remembers your feud with Moxley and having to go through every member of the Inner Circle. I don't remember any of that. Is it just me? Do you remember that?
I do remember it vaguely, but then as soon as Jericho lost the title, they really didn't go back to it all.
I mean, do you remember any of the
really.
Moxley build?
I do remember that.
I remember the match, kind of, them fighting outside the ring a lot and Moxley later winning. But no, I remember vividly the Cody MJF build with the lashes and the cage match with Wardlow.
Yeah, that was good. Dude, just like lines like, and I'm really into Greek mythology.
Remember Moxley got stabbed in the eye by the Inner Circle? He had to go to the Inner Circle, and then he came back and did the whole ice pick thing too. That was the build of the.
I remember him wearing the eye patch.
Yeah, because he got stabbed by the Inner Circle.
There you go. Sorry, I mean, what about Greek mythology? You don't like the
the Jewish kid. I like Greek mythology, and now I've come up with a match. You know, Hercules, he had to go through 5. I'm just like, oh my god, just predicated bullshit, bro. Like, maybe he's got to fight GGP 5 times. That'd be good.
That'd be good.
I expected a little more like sizzle, like because the one he did with Cody was so damn good and gripping. That 10 lashes segment is probably the best AEW segment there's been.
Should have just been a match with if fucking MJF loses, Jericho gets to have sex with his mom. That's plenty of fucking stipulation right there.
I just expected a little more than like you're gonna have to wrestle 4 guys. Like that is a lot, but I thought it would have some more spice considering all he made Cody go through.
What happens if the first guy beats you?
Yeah, then you're done.
That's why I tried. Sorry, I wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you see what he hit me with? Falcon's arrow fucking superplex. It beat me.
But that could happen, and he goes out and has sex with MJF's mother anyway, and then reignite the feud. And they can now do the Pillars of Rome.
Well, back from break after they go to commercial, Britt Baker is upset that Reba is hurt because she had to get in the ring with Nyla Rose and senior citizen Vicky Guerrero and put Rebel in unsafe work environment. She says that Tony Khan should feel terrible. She makes $1 million in the background. You see Rebel like using her finger, like she's talking for herself, not me. So Vicky could bring him Andrade El Idolo. He says,
she goes, Reba does my makeup. She goes, even though I don't need it, I'm pretty much completely natural. She goes, so good. Like Rebel killed it in this scene, bro. I was
They're the fucking best together, dude.
And then Britt Baker follows it up and says, maybe next week we could have a match. AEW Dynamite could take place in Saudi Arabia so you can enjoy your blood money. And then she talks about Nyla.
Boom. Well, let's stop right there. What's the repercussions on Adam Cole for that?
Ooh. Well, he doesn't get to go to Saudi Arabia and make the blood money. That's the repercussions. He's staying in Florida.
We'll see.
What if he does end up going to Saudi Arabia?
And what if he has to dress like Shawn Michaels?
No. Interesting.
I mean, that sounds like a WWE dig you would write if you were writing Dynamite.
It absolutely was, and that's why the upcoming fucking American Top Team segment, I was like, am I writing subconsciously now? What the fuck is happening, bro? That was definitely a dig that I would write. And you know what? Here's my worker mindset. because she put it in there, and they wouldn't do this. They would never pull the trigger on Hamin. That's my door to come in and fucking talk shit to Britt Baker and try and be booked to go over, you know what I mean, and break her, make her fall in love with me, kidnap her, whatever. How dare she say anything about the kingdom of Saudi Arabia? Right? Like, if she's going to say it, right. Who's the fucking 19th prince of the House of Saud?
Oh, 19th. Shit. I didn't realize you were that high in the order.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, some people got taken out a couple times the last couple of years.
And what was great to me is that Britt Baker was the one suited to deliver that line. Like, of all the people a jab like that could come from, I thought it was very interesting and fitting that Britt was the one to do it, and she did it fucking well. She got no fear, you know?
I'm telling you, it's going to come down on Adam Cole for that.
Or her one day. But
well, here's the other thing. Was this a shot on Adam Cole? She goes, what's the city they're going to? Dallas, right? Yeah. She goes, it's called the Big D. Well, I don't know anything about that, but I do know it's going to be called DMD. So she's saying fucking Adam Cole's got the fucking little shiz over there or what, Briz? Like, she don't know about the Big D.
All right, here's my conspiracy horseman. What if fucking Adam Cole fucked up and did something stupid? Like, he got caught like
getting shots in on
they didn't break up, but he got caught like texting some chick or fucking
I'll tell you what,
anniversary.
I've heard that about a different power couple, and I wonder if it was that in the switch. I don't know. I can't go into it, but another cool kids couple almost had some issues, and it was because of infidelity. What if the infidelity was that? And I'm just hypothetical spitball.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
I just think it'd be funnier if like they were still together and he just fucked up and did something, like, even if it was as simple as he fucking didn't cut the lawn like he was supposed to and go to Home Depot, and she fucking took it out on him on national TV.
So she ends the promo, as you mentioned. Next week, we're going to be in Dallas. They call it the Big D. I don't know much about the Big D, but I do know that when we walk out, it'll be DMD. So that's how she ends it. Next, we got our next matchup. Andrade El Idolo with Vic.
Isn't that what they called Dre Blitz in OVW now when he got fat, the Big D? I think they called him that. That was like his new thing.
Yes, I invented that angle. By the
Did you really?
I saw Shiloh performing, and I said, it'd be hilarious if you had Blitz do a Diesel gimmick. And I explained it to him, and Shiloh put his spin on it. And weeks later, Blitz is out in the black wig doing this, and it was fantastic.
Nice. I'd like to see Dre Blitz with Dr. Britt Baker. That'd be fun.
Oh my god, Reba and Blitz. Dude.
It'd be great.
Next up, we have Andrade El Idolo with Vicky Guerrero taking on Matt Sydal. This was my favorite match of the night. It was a great match. The only complaint I had about this match was, and I'm not a worker, so I'm not going to work with Pat, but if he's supposed to be a heel, he shouldn't have done the Eddie Guerrero triple suplex spot. I mean, it was a great spot. I liked it, and I thought it was great. Got the crowd popped, but aren't you a heel? I don't know. I thought maybe he should have made a variation, or like just as you're about to hit the third suplex, then he pushes him down and waves off the crowd or something, like, because he teased him.
Well, that's what you do. You do bang, bang, draw him in. Well, I'm going to do another one, chuck him down, fuck you to the crowd that way. That's the spot for the heel.
Or dude, Matt reverses it and suplexes him.
Yeah, you can get back over. Dude, as a heel, he's coming down in the Don Mattingly gangster baseball tearaway suit and a mask on. The guy's got movie star good looks, and he's wearing a mask, bro. This is one of the dumbest things where it leaves me scratching my head. Your whole thing is about your body, and instead you got to wear a gangster suit that you then do a tearaway on. So this guy's got a tearaway suit, bro. Like, what am I watching? Before the match even starts, then he looks like $1 million and Antonio Banderas. Let's start there. You don't need all these dumbass gimmicks before. I don't care what Lucha or AAA does or CMLL. Nope. That's not who you are here, bro. You're Antonio Heel Banderas, who's coming to fuck everybody's wife, Zorro, in the middle of the night. That's who you are. So the match was phenomenal, but these opening things that are just so clueless. I don't think you were at OVW then. I've talked about these guys that I think they had match in AEW I think they're twin brothers, or they're close in age, if not twins. Dreads, like light-skinned dudes. I'm not sure if they're,
Are you referencing the Tate twins that used to be at Dalton Castle as the boys? Yeah, I know both of those guys.
Dude, they were coming to the ring with big alien. I went to visit. They got alien helmets on. I'm like, dude, every woman within fucking 500 miles wants to bang both of you. And you're coming to the ring with fucking alien helmets on because they were marks for some alien shit. And I thought that would get them over. I'm like, baby faces are so dumb sometimes. They have no idea where their money is. They really don't.
So, Silvio, before you jump in, I was just gonna say I agree. I don't necessarily like the mask thing. I'm a big fan of tearaway suits though, so I like that.
But he's wearing the Don Mattingly pinstripe one, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm a Yankees fan, and but are they in Miami because Mattingly's supposedly there? I don't know. It was just like, what are we doing, man? Just come out and whoop somebody's ass. Vicky's the heat. That's all you need.
Andrade has questionable ring attire choices. It was definitely an interesting visual when I saw him walking out. And then when he took the stuff off, I was like, oh, he's going to work in those because I got used to seeing him in tights in WWE. But if you guys recall, same thing when he debuted in NXT, he was dressed kind of like Los Boricuas from the 90s. He had on like some white slacks and like a suspender get up and had like a top hat kind of thing. And I was like, why the fuck is this guy wearing that? He's so good in the ring. What is this? Then later he got tights and I think he got a ring jacket or something and became awesome. And I went on record many times saying fucking Andrade should be the champion. He's that good. Yeah. So again, another weird outfit choice. The match itself, I got to say, I was a little surprised. Maybe it's because he's being a heel or attempting to be a heel. I noticed Andrade slowed the pace down a lot more than I'm used to seeing him. So I was expecting a banger of a match with Matt, similar to maybe like the ones he'd have with like Rey Mysterio or one of the guys in WWE that could really go, where they're hustling, they're putting in work. Andrade wasn't not that he didn't do stuff, he did, but he wasn't keeping that pace. He didn't really go out of his way to make it an exciting or great match. So that said to me that I think he was more focused on showing that slow, deliberate pace and getting a strong win than he was with putting on a great match his first time out.
But Matt
with Seidel,
strikes on him. Matt was working a lot of strikes on him.
Yeah. So with Seidel, they could have had a fucking barn burner of a match. You can imagine if they wanted to, what they could have done with that. It just kind of seemed to me like, maybe that wasn't Andrade's feeling last night. He didn't want to have that kind of match, which I found a little odd. Not that the match was bad. Seidel's fucking great. I love Andrade. I expect a little bit more out of the match and a little bit quicker pace.
Tearaway suits.
I like tearaway suits though. My complaint, I did have a complaint post-match because during the match, I thought they did a good job. At least Excalibur or Jarrah mentioned that, Matt Seidel is a yoga guy, does yoga and whatnot. So after the match, when Andrade has him locked in with his arms behind his back, I'm like, well, I think Matt Seidel probably just stretches like that every day. I just thought it was a weird move to lock on him. But, otherwise, it was a great match. That's all. I felt really good stretching like that, actually.
But it had no heat. Think about the last 2 weeks we talked about with him walking by, what that match could have meant compared to because of the moments we missed earlier.
Did you hear the crowd too? I mean, that's something I noticed big time in this match.
I didn't. Were they down?
Because they had no build A, and they didn't give Seidel a particularly strong build prior, like where he'd picked up 5 wins straight on TV.
They're flat, yeah.
They were happy to see Andrade, and the crowd usually likes Matt, but they weren't going to get behind Matt that night because they wanted to see Andrade. So a lot of it, the crowd wasn't quite sure what they were supposed to do, and that goes back to what we always say about not building things,
And to your point, because Andrade slowed down the match, he didn't allow the fans that were into the big time moments it didn't happen. Those big time spots
where Matt couldn't get his fucking shit in, boom, 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 get the pace up, get him excited, go for the shooting star. Andrade cuts him off with a fucking superplex. you know.
Ben, anything else?
Yeah, I would have done the shooting star.
Nice. Cool. Tony Schiavone is backstage standing with Arn. I'm sorry, he's in the ring standing with Arn Anderson. But before we get that, we get a little vignette package just hyping up the history between Matt Hardy and Christian. And it's going to be them two battling next week at Night 1 on Fighter Fest. Don't really need to go over it. If you want to go watch the video package, you can. It's really well put together. I mean, both guys know how to cut a promo, and they told a great kind of little history about their backstory, about them encountering each other. Did you have any thoughts?
Matt, is Fighter Fest 2 weeks or is it 2 nights?
2 nights. So,
and are they airing both nights?
Yeah, I think they're airing each night on Dynamite. Sorry, on TNT.
So like it would be Wednesday and Thursday, presumably?
No, it's Wednesday next week, and then I think it's the following week is night 2.
Got you. Okay.
So I think it's their shtick for it. But interestingly enough, we had a street fight that's going to happen at the end of the night, but that's not going to be on Fighter Fest, where the name of the show is called Fighter Fest. I thought that was a little confusing, but whatever. So we have the great package. Then we go to Tony Schiavone standing in the ring with Arn Anderson, as you guys mentioned at the top of the review. Arn says it's great to be in Miami, and then lights go out again as it was set up in the first match. Lights come back on, standing there with Aleister Black, now going by apparently Malakai Black. He gives the black mask to Arn, and when Cody comes out to confront him, he gets a black mask as well. So this morning when I turned on the Friday locker room, the very first thing I heard them talking about 15 minutes in was Steve Richards going, why the hell would you give away his name right away? That was the very first thing I heard this morning. And he's right. Letting the crowd chant Tommy N being his real name, that's fine. You can't control the crowd. JR tried to do it. He tried to cover and go, I don't know what he's going to go by, Tommy N or Malakai Black, but I guess we'll see. But then Excalibur had to make sure to multiple times point out, no, it's Malakai Black. It's Malakai Black. It's Malakai Black. So, I don't know. Just thought that was I agreed. I agree with Mr. Richards there on that point that they shouldn't have given him his name. But it was a good kind of debut. I liked it. Lights coming up. He beats the crap out of both of them. But I just thought that this was an odd placement for his debut. And I'll talk about it even further when we get to the Dan Lambert segment, because I thought that the wrong person came out during the Dan Lambert segment. But that being said, what did you think of this, Silvio?
I thought it was cool as fuck. Nobody expected it, even me. It worked fucking well. Great kick to Arn. Him and Cody have the moment. Kick to Cody. So what a great first feud for him. Cody, somebody who fucking works with emotion. So if you're going to jump into a company and get in with anyone, Cody or Omega's probably the guys you would want to do it with. So kudos to him. I don't know how I feel about Malachi Black. I would have maybe left it ambiguous until the following week, because the crowd was chanting Tommy End, which I like the name Tommy End more than I like Malachi Black. So had they not said that, perhaps they could have went, well, shit, the crowd's already chanting Tommy End. I think that's fine.
Well,
sufficient enough.
According to the chat, apparently he had done a video earlier in the day. There you go. So we didn't watch the internet. It's our fault, Sil.
Dude, if they did a video before they did Lights Up, Lights Down and put him over on their own website that he was there, then fuck everybody involved. First of all, the heat was on Excalibur huge as far as I'm concerned. And if that's Khan in his ear, then that's because he's a fool too. To be saying this guy's Malachi Black when the whole crowd's chanting Tommy End and not give him until next week to explain who he is and what he is or why he's there, and go, no, I knew him and now he's different. Look at him. He's demonic. He's got a different colored eye. Can you believe that, everybody? Malachi Black, dude, gone. You just like, this is what I'm saying. This is the same ECW tricks of who's here, who's not. We know it's Aleister Black. We know his indie name's Tommy End.
Right.
Shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up.
He's already got a cool last name. The end is here. Like, it's like
Excalibur is an amateur, bro. He's an amateur.
Whatever the video he put out earlier, we clearly don't know about it, but I don't think it was promoted by AEW, nor did he reference AEW. Whoever on the chat
video, why would you even put the spotlight on yourself on the night that you're going to debut?
Whoever just commented on the chat, did in this video where he said he's now Malachi Black, did he make any reference to AEW?
No, he did. It didn't say he was coming, but it doesn't matter. Just putting it out there, bro, when you're supposed to. They just don't know. They just don't get it. And then the most awesome, like a perfect ECW lights up, lights down, oh my God moment. And then ruined in the exact segment by an incompetent announcer with an incompetent fucking booker in his ear telling him to say it. So that, like, it just kills me, man. It really, really kills me to even have to fucking watch that and know that nobody's there swatting hands, being like, you don't do that ever.
Yeah. Other than the name confusion, I thought it was a pretty fucking damn good, exciting
Great.
segment.
And then they just went and stabbed themselves in the fucking throat 5 times before they even went to commercial.
Especially since it's started getting rumored, that he was heading back to WWE. So that made an even bigger surprise.
Wait till they put the heat on his wife now too.
Yep. Oh, she's gonna be fucked. But this is a question to both of you. Remember the edict a few months ago where TNT said no more surprises? This was a pretty big fucking surprise, I think. Correct?
I would say so. Especially when everybody thought he was under a 90-day clause where he wasn't going to show up anywhere else, and he showed up after 30, right?
I got an issue with that.
That matters, but still, because anybody can get paid and take the money, but still, I don't think people were expecting it for sure. But go ahead.
Do you think TNT will be hot about that, Hamin, or is it a non-issue?
They killed this segment for me. They had something beautiful and they shit all over their hands, smeared it on their face.
Well, aside from the poo-poo finger painting, from TNT's standpoint, do you think they're hot?
Yeah,
about
dude. I mean, but at the same time, they can say they're hot, but like I said, dude, the upper levels of all of these that I've dealt with, from Discovery Channel to Fox to whatever, we put these people up there because of these corporations. There's so much ignorance at the top politically on TV and media. Like the dumbest people who sit there and get these positions, who have no idea how to fix anything, who have no real world experience of coming up from the bottom to make things happen and how to do the successful. They're the ones who get the spots with millions upon millions of dollars of bankroll behind them to make more and more and more incorrect decisions. So when it comes to one dumb bastard not doing something that some other dumb bastard says, it's all equals stupid at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. There's nobody on that side who has the know-how to crack whip on Khan and be like, this is why that we don't want this type of stuff, and here's this, that, or the other, bro. There really isn't anybody there. Not what I've dealt with, and not even when I heard how they pitched AEW to get off the ground to the president of TNT, who didn't even realize WCW was on that fucking channel within 20 years before that, and that there was a legacy of wrestling. This is the level of people who get the top jobs. The most incompetent.
Well, after that, we went to, I gotta say,
the same people who will go to New York City and hire stand-up comedy writers who have no idea who Bobby Ashley is. That's who we need to bring in from IFC. She's going to diversify and fix everything. Oh, okay. Yeah, give her $200,000. You know what? Give her $300,000. She worked on IFC with some fucking people from Comedy Central one time. She's the best. The fucking best.
Well, after that, as I was going to say, I got into, this is the most confusing feud. We've got Ricky Starks. Apparently earlier in the night, they said, oh, Ricky Starks was out here, and he stood in the ring with security behind him. He says he can't trust Brian Cage to put his hands on him. Out comes Taz. He doesn't like what Ricky's doing, but Starks wants to be ready for the FTW title match. He calls out Cage's wife and says that the W stands for wife, as in fuck the wife.
Oh, this was a terrible promo.
This is just confusing, this feud. I'm just so lost.
He didn't know where he was going. This was all over the place.
He said your favorite line, though. I mean, I'm gonna fuck your wife. That's your favorite line.
That is
your fuck my wife.
But yeah, this feud is just very confusing. It's just
every Team Taz feud is confusing.
Well, this so much more than ever, the inner feud. At least like when they're fighting against somebody, I can at least know what the story is. This they just popped up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're now infighting. And apparently it's probably happening on Dark, or maybe it's happening on the Twitch stream that I'm not watching.
And Ricky Starks had the jabroni security squad. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Like his personal
Yeah,
security.
all those guys took good bumps though for Cage.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I just thought it was funny that he had his personal security crew, and then Cage just gets it's 3 men of reasonable stature.
They were all bigger than him, yeah.
But not like 3 Wardlows. It was just kind of like just 3 bros bigger than Ricky. And Cage just comes in and lays waste to all
the one that got thrown over on the ramp, he sold the shit out of that throw. Watched him fly.
Yeah, they're fucking underneath us trying to get a spot, man. Do the thing.
So then we go to another match: the Blade and the Bunny versus Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander. Unless you have any other comments you'd like to make, Ben, on the DW. All right.
Do you want to talk about the TV execs anymore, Ben? No, go ahead, Ben.
They get it. They understand what's going on.
So
shows are drawn 1.47 and fucking 800,000 down 60% from where they want them to be, up over 30%. But they're looking for creative solutions, and they're happy and they're excited about it.
I think they should get more writers from Netflix. They've been doing so many good series lately that if you could bring some of that to, like, you know, Drew's Loch Ness story, there's some meat on the bone.
It's all how you tell it. I think some shots could really bring that to life.
By the way, I am a huge Drew McIntyre fan, in case anyone's confused. I legitimately like Drew.
Cassidy and Bunny taking on Blade and Bunny taking on Cassidy and Statlander. Cassidy and Bunny kind of tease at the beginning some intergender wrestling, but Bunny tags in Blade. Takes a stun dog millionaire. Bunny and Chris go at an X. They kind of stall, go back and forth, and there's a brawl between Orange and Blade on the outside. Blade ultimately gets laid out, and Statlander then hits the Area 451 splash onto him. Orange covers, but Bunny saves, gets some brass knucks and slugs Orange with him, but Statlander takes no, tags herself in, and then she hits the big bang on Bunny for the win. So the winner of this match was Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. Any thoughts on this, Ben?
Yeah, I like this match. This is how you use Bunny in a wrestling way. Except for there was one part where Statlander's up on Bunny and tags out instead of going for the pin. There was just a couple things of like, where she should have gone for the pin on things, and they get broken up so the heels can stay on top that way. So just some fundamentally indie wrong tag team wrestling, but whatever, it was what it was, and the girls looked great, you know, very sexy and good facials and on time. And fucking Orange Cassidy's got it made. He's got 2 chicks carrying him out at the end of the match. Good for you, brother. That's a nice spot. If you got to take bumps, that's a nice spot to be in, to have 2 good-looking young ladies carrying you out. But I mean, what's it really mean, you know? And why after? Not that I don't want Allie or Bunny to be on camera, or Cherry Bomb, whatever you want to call her, because you know, my 2CW sister, and Pepper too. But why after 2 or 3 botches are you going to keep putting her out there, you know, until like possibly happen again? You know, like it worries me that type of meetings going on.
Yep.
Sorry, Silvio.
Kind of quick on this, man. Blade is a tremendous professional wrestler. I'll say that first. However, I feel like Statlander and Bunny don't have the chemistry together needed for a televised product. I would get those 2 away from each other. Orange Cassidy has had his fair share of criticisms, you know, and we've made points about Cassidy here, both positive and negative. But Cassidy interacting with Blade at the beginning of the match and what they did, once the 2 women tagged in and got in, we saw a dramatic level drop of technique and the smoothness and crispness. Like, it looked like we had 2 guys. Blade's a fucking legit pro. Cassidy's got this unique gimmick, but he does stuff well, you know? So like, it looked like we had 2 guys that are doing good pro wrestling. And then when the women came in, because they don't have chemistry, it was nowhere near as clean, and it just didn't match the visual. Like, so those 2 as a pairing, I don't like. The match was fine. Statlander doing the 450 was really good. That to me seemed like a house show match. or something that you would do like on a dark main event as opposed to putting it on TV. Because it's interesting. It was colorful. You had Orange, you had Stat. There's a lot to look at, so I could see doing it. But it just didn't work on TV.
That's a match that gets built up to where Allie gets pulled into the match. No, I don't want to wrestle. We're gonna have a tag match, and so she can react. Not we've had singles, and now we're just gonna do this intergender. They did a good job in the beginning, getting Orange's bullshit slow kicks in and the hands in the pocket. That's inventive little way to get into the match. I like that.
Yeah. The one thing I got to shit on AEW for again, though, is for the company that is all inclusive and that Hamin you always ran and rave about. Everybody's included, but not included. SJW, blah, blah, blah. Once again, there was not a women's match. They get the one segment. Okay, we got women in this match. So that's it. That's all you're getting today. We get that week after week where we get our one segment with women in it. And then that's it. A few weeks ago, I think we got 2 women's matches on one show, but they have so many women there, some quite talented. We haven't seen a lot of people as well. Like, I don't remember the last time fucking Big Swole's had a match or this person or that person. Like, we see a woman have a match and then they're gone. Sitting there last night was Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, Big Swole, hanging out fucking backstage. Holodead was there the week prior. So why we couldn't have gotten a legit women's match as well, even if it's fucking 5 minutes, I don't know. For somebody that's all inclusive, and I like the
not even a women's battle royal, like just to show us who we got,
something.
What I mean?
But I don't feel like the women are getting anywhere near the amount of TV time they could be getting, especially when you compare it to NXT and WWE.
And most of those are shuffled onto dark. That's where a lot of the women's matches are happening. And you see that scrolled.
Where the fuck's Abaddon?
And they're just scrolled across the bottom. That's the results. Like,
where's Sheeta?
Tay Conti won last night.
Shorty.
Yeah, where the fuck is Tay Conti? Why is
Shorty Russian? Sheeta.
And where's that bitch? She's that bitch.
Yeah, I'm that bitch, everybody. But I don't have any matches. I'm that bitch with no matches.
Give me 5 minutes of Layla the Russian with fucking Sheeta or somebody, like a good little match and get them fucking on the show. How are these women ever going to get over if we don't see them on TV?
They're not.
Well,
and you wonder why.
Well, so following this, the next segment here, we've got Jorge Masvidal, Amanda Nunes, and Dan Lambert at ringside. So Tony Schiavone's introducing them, and just as he's introducing them, Lambert takes the mic from Schiavone and tells him to buzz off. So more of the gimmick of taking the mic from Schiavone. He cites that he was invited to come out tonight to watch AEW. But he was hesitant because, he grew up watching classic wrestling, cites some classic wrestling matches all the way to the 70s, 80s, talks about classic Florida wrestling, and says that AEW sucks, though. He says he's been here watching it for 90 minutes and that he should have trusted his instincts because this show sucks. So everything up until this point I did like. But then Lance Archer came out, and I was really confused because Lance Archer has not been billed to be a Mr. AEW. In fact, he's been mismanaged in regards to his character, where 1 week he's a heel and the next week he's trying to be a babyface. Secondly, he put his hands on Dan Lambert, but I've got 2 UFC fighters on the outside who are not going to jump in and protect their boy. And thirdly, what happens from this? What business does this do for anybody, for Lance Archer or Dan Lambert? Very confusing ending. And also, why was it Lance Archer? And this is what I was saying. If this had been like a Cody spot, Cody wouldn't have come out and put his hands on Dan, but he at least could have come out and stuck up for AEW and could have gotten the crowd, the pop. There was no reaction. It's Dan Lambert cut a fucking amazing promo, but after that, I don't know what the hell happened with this segment.
What's rule 1?
You use your heels to get your babies over?
Yeah, you put heat on your heels to get your babies over. He has been flip-flopped back and forth, never gotten over. Lambert cut one of the best heel promos in the history of fucking AEW. Heat in front of the live crowd. You can march out anybody. Send out grandma. Go fuck them up, grandma. After that promo. You know what I mean? Especially in front of the the loyal and faithful and saying exactly what I would say to them, and you know that this is a pile of shit. No matter how much you support it, don't try and fool me. And puts over historic wrestling too to do a generation gap. Out comes Archer, hits him, takes a great bump. He's over as a babyface. That's Jerry Lawler in ECW, the reboot of that.
I don't think he's going to get a reaction. If they didn't react to him last night during the beatdown, I don't think he's going to get a reaction next week.
Well, they could have, but they didn't finish the scene, because you are right. You don't have Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes there and not have them run in to fucking then jump on Big Man. Like, he fucking hits him low, leg lock. She's got him in the choke. They're getting him out. Locker room clears to come fucking pull them off and do a standoff of what's going on. And they bug the fuck out. And we got to stop. And referees are stopping because we don't want to have an international UFC incident. And I pitched 6 months ago, Serena versus Amanda Nunes. So, and here we are. And then we didn't even come close. That would have been the perfect person to come in to get Amanda Nunes off of, you know what I mean? Or maybe Serena and Ty Conte, because Amanda Nunes is that badass, and Ty Conte could put on a great fucking match with her too, I bet, mixed martial arts style, and help carry her through. Masvidal, you could have had anybody you wanted, shooter style. Jake Hager that would have fucking made him. They left so much that they did a little bit of business to get heat on a heel and fucking get the baby over. That with those two standing there, they left fucking 90% on the fucking plate, bro. So much opportunity to do something. They might not have got it clear with Dana or whatever, but dude, that was the fucking way to go. Now, if they try and come back and do it, it's going to be some Mike Tyson's coked up friends fucking bullshit.
Well, they're going to forget about this in a month. That's what pisses me off, is that he cut this great promo, and within 1 month, this is no one's going to remember this.
I just watched the buses go by. There was the big opportunity. No thanks. I'll walk. Didn't want to ride to fucking glory. Just, dude, they miss and they miss and they miss. They set everything up, and then they just fucking pat themselves on the back that we did it so right. They did 10% of the work, and they're acting like they got 100 on the test, bro. It's unbelievable. It's stomach churning bad.
Here's what I would have done. If you have these people for one night and you know that, what are we selling right now? We're selling Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. I would have had Nyla be the person to come out, and she either beast bombs Lambert or she kicks him in the balls. From there is Nunes hopping the rail. And either Nyla meets her on the floor and they engage in some kind of brawl or tugging at each other that gets ripped up in a wild scene, or Nunes jumps the rail and hops the ring, tackles fucking Nyla, ground and pound. They're rolling around. Nyla's ground and pounded her, pulled everything off. That would have got, as you like to say, max value out of everything. And it damn sure would have hyped Nyla for this match with Britt, who currently Nyla has no heat. You know, that would have said, oh, fuck, Nyla just fought the greatest women's fighter in the world and hung with her.
Yeah, but that's Serena's, dude. Nyla is a sideshow.
Yeah, but we're selling Nyla right now. She's not selling Serena right now.
That the new business would sell Serena. She just came off of losing the NWA title, needs something new to be spark. She's the best wrestler you have on your roster, best world champion in UFC history. That's the new business start right there.
Don't get me wrong. They should absolutely be selling Serena. But currently they're trying to build Nyla for this. So that would have been her spot, to be the one to do something with Nyla. The promo was fucking great. That guy is a better promo than pretty much the majority of the fucking roster.
Everybody that have. Nobody in that fucking whole time that they've been open has cut a promo that good to get that much heat.
I hope
higher sense of impact. I mean, Dan Lambert is amazing on the mic.
Like you were saying, Matt, odds are we're going to forget about it in a month. I'm going to guess that Archer has no interaction following today with this, but I hope that it goes somewhere. Or if they don't do anything with Lambert, that showed last night that contrarian character that's speaking the minds of a lot of the veterans and some of the AEW naysayers, how much heat, a la Jim Cornette, that character would get in front of the audience, and how much heat whoever he manages would get by proxy because of this asshole. if Lambert's going out there speaking the truth in his mind about fucking AEW, those diehards are going to fucking hate it. There's so much heat in it. It was great.
Guys, I hate to keep pushing, but I got to meet John Paz in like 5 minutes.
Do your thing. Whatever.
Well, I can't jump off because I'm hosting and I got to get back on StreamYard. So we got to.
All right, Maddie, wrap it.
Okay. One more thing I just wanted to also point out that they missed opportunity. Star's got a brand new show coming out this year called Heels. There's an individual who has a good tie to Dan Lambert. He's on this network named Stevie Richards. You could have easily had Stevie Richards be the one that come out and fought for Dan Lambert as the old school wrestling fan that Dan Lambert. If they're going to do something to bring back an old school wrestler, then that he's talking about to take on Lance Archer is what is the only thing I could see that would at least make some sense here in this promo. And then they could promote Heels, which is going to be coming out later this year, and Cody's on, et cetera, et cetera. So getting to the main event, AEW World Tag Team Championship match. We have a street fight. Penta El Zero, Eddie Kingston taking down the Young Bucks. Winners are still champs, Young Bucks. Any thoughts?
Crazy. The Young Bucks had jorts on. The fucking Canadian Destroyer off the apron through a table was wild. Super Rana off the top. Penta onto or Nick Jackson super running Penta off the top into thumbtacks was nasty. Then Eddie Kingston getting super kicked with the mouthful of thumbtacks. Pretty nasty. Good finish. It was just wild. That's all I could say about this match. It was fucking all over the place. Wild.
I like that they showed the different camera angles of that big bump because while obviously you can't, it's going to hurt. You could see that he didn't come down on his head, and really the only thing that maybe hit anything the guardrail was like his left shoulder or his arm. So at least I like after watching him, okay, he's not hurt. He's not going to get injured right now. But Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, this was a great main event. All the crazy shit. A little bit too many fall season went up, but they broke up on some good stuff. People were saying Bucks are looking a little soft. I'm nobody to fucking say what's what, but but that's all right because they're heels right now, so they don't have to be super sexy, I guess is my thing. I thought losing the porn stashes was whatever, even though they had the denim on. They got to go another 6 inches higher if they want to get to Stevie. So there was a lot of good stuff here. This was a great main event. Those spots through the tables were devastating. But once again, Cutler has his moment and does a great job, with it. I want to definitely point that guy out, and it's moments like that where Cutler's getting paid to take one bump, and you do it at the right time. And it means so much more, especially in a violence. Here's one little shot of comedy to break that up.
Right.
Boom. Back to it. You know what I mean?
He got power bombed through a table, right?
And it was nasty too. It broke on the short end too. It didn't look too fun while spraying. Yeah.
We'll say the spot where I think it was one of the Jacksons had power bombed Kingston onto the backside of the table. That looked nasty.
Yeah, that was bad. He landed right on the leg too.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a trick to it. Eddie knows a way to do it.
They gimmicked it.
I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, they gimmicked. They gimmicked his spine is what they fucking gimmicked.
I thought the jorts were over though, boys. The jorts are the story of the match.
I was hoping to see that fucking sidewinder Canadian Destroyer Code Red that he did in the last fucking match, but he didn't break it out this time.
You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, a very interesting and huge show with great ECW style debuts and whatnot. But the biggest moments of where we could have gone to start new business and to get guys over we didn't even come close to sniffing them on this show, bro. And they're gone. Those first impressions are gone. Will anybody ever surround this guy with the right people to show him how to punch up his ideas the right way? I don't think there is. I think they just keep patting themselves on the back. These big houses, I'm glad to see them. I'm glad to see hot crowds having entertainment. I'm glad to see stupid fat fuck fans getting punched in the face who think they're over. I love all that shit. That's why I love professional wrestling. So I thought this was a good show, but a maddening show for me as a creative who said, Will
they make up for some of those misses next week in Texas?
Yeah.
Tune in here to find out.
Yeah.
That's right, guys. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean. I'm lighting up that green, your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, I also host a podcast called
Suck my balls.
A South Park review. You can go check us out. Brand new episode is up. Season 5 finale, Butter's very own episode. Yeah, Dad's not very good at wrestling. Some black guy had him pinned down for 15 minutes. So you can go check out the part review of Butter's very own episode.
Yeah.
As well as don't forget to check out patreon.com/StevieRayTV. I think Stevie took a week off this week. But there's tons of content interviews up there. As well as if you are in the Houston area, you can check out astarnetwork.com. Download the phone on your iOS, Google, Android, Fire Stick, and you can actually watch it there as well if you're into the Houston digital urban content, the #1 digital urban station in Houston. So check out Stevie Ray TV on there as well. That's all I got this week. I'm going on vacation next week, so I will not be here. You guys will be holding it down without me. Appreciate it. And you can also check out the New Force Order podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Chris Silvio. And last night you saw American Top Team. Well, you can see the pro wrestling version of American Top Team by coming and join us here at Side Dojo in sunny Clearwater, Florida, to become an awesome fucking pro wrestler and get your ass on TV and do some really cool shit. Follow Genocide on social media at Genocide000 as the road to St. Louis continues. NWA's Empower, first women's pay-per-view and a huge pay-per-view in St. Louis. It's going to be nuts. So we're ready for war.
Before we go, Silvio, has Jenna ever soiled herself while doing deadlifts?
If she has, she did not make me aware of it.
Okay.
Apollo Pete. Y'all, you guys can get at me at cameo.com/Ben Hamin. Just got a new order for a Bincy, pal. Yeah. A new happy birthday suit message coming out. So having a lot of fun with that. Cameo.com/Ben Hamin. You guys go to patreon.com/Hamin Media Group to get all these shows for free, as well as great shows like Developmental. Yeah, if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. I can call you Deucey, and when you call me, you can call me pal. Yeah, you can call me.
Patreon.com/RussoTWC for that.
We're having a good time with it. I also just upload episode 8, part 1 and 2, and episode 8 and 9 to the patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Developmental, I'm about to jump off right now and get mental with the 2-man power trip. John Paz, who also had Chris Jericho on, you guys. Huge interview for him, and we're looking forward to all that crossover. So everybody's just hitting on all cylinders. I thank both of my co-hosts for kicking ass. Maddie, have a great vacation. Thank you for all that you do. I really want you to enjoy yourself, unwind, and make some moments for yourself, bro. And still,
becoming Ben Hamin.
It's scary to become that, man. But
can you give me the sound as we head off the air?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can give it to you one time. But it's MSG, it's Chris Silvio, it's Hacker Hamin. We are lighting the fuse, and if you didn't know,
ding dong. Hello.
Hello.
Don't tell me what to do.
I won't.